going? It's Grant with the Garden of Eater.
And Shelby.
And today we're going to talk about breeding high-grade shrimp, competition-grade shrimp even, how the best way to go about it, and some little tips, maybe some secrets, but everything I've already shared before. We're just going to wrap it up in one nice little live stream for you all this evening. So it's been quite a productive week. We've still got a lot of leftover energy from yesterday at the state fair. So we're going to crash it out on tonight's stream and wrap up what has been a very eventful week and start off a new one with this live stream for tonight. So got to dive into basically selective breeding 101 for tonight's stream. That is the way to do it. If you're wondering about adding new blood or anything like that, some of the best lines of shrimp out there are very, breeding from one tree line down and not adding any new lines or anything like that. So let's start it off with the Neocaridina. The best way to get your Neos looking in their Sunday best, their competition suit, is going to be getting them some sunshine. It's just something about them UV rays, the outdoors, the heat outside is certainly going to play into effect. You can't really do any winter tubbing right now in most states. Even in Florida, with the temperatures the way they are, our ponds are looking a little bare. A lot of the shrimp will huddle up and kind of hide in one little spot and not really come out during the winter times. However, in spring and summertime, they are in full-blown breeding season mode, and they are growing faster, producing more babies a lot quicker, and just all around their growth gets a lot larger outside than they do in tanks inside. Now, I'm not saying that you can't grow large shrimp with tanks inside. It's just way easier doing it outside. It's like the difference between Arnold Schwarzenegger using steroids or doing it legitimately. I guess I should have used the Liver King as a better reference. Like, the Liver King would not be as big as he was today if he didn't use steroids. And that's the same with a lot of our shrimp that we keep outside. However, you can have some good natural genes and a nice sized tank inside with a good light and everything like that, good mineral content, good diet, and you can get some big Goliath-sized shrimps without steroids, But throw them outside in a little tub, in a pond, in a trash can, whatever you got, a bucket, and you'll be surprised how quickly you can get some Neocaridina shrimp to grow outside. But that's not going to mean they're going to look the best in their Sunday suits. That is where you've got to take some selective breeding into some serious, strict guidelines to set yourself to move on to the next generation. So basically what I'm talking about is you start out with a group of 10 to 20 shrimp. They're going to be juveniles. So all shrimp around smaller age are going to have less pigment than they will as adults. As they age and as they mature, their pigment cells also will mature. They'll grow, they'll overlap. And when this happens, you'll get more intense color, a thicker, solid looking shell, and overall a higher quality shrimp. So out of, those 10, 20 juveniles, when they grow up, you might only have half of them that are going to look top quality. And out of those half, maybe, half of those are males. So you're going to want to get rid of, the bottom 3 of the 5 males that you have and just work with, your best 2 males and then the 5 females. You can't keep some of those other females in the stock if you're trying to boost up your colony numbers. However, if you're looking to pass on the best genes onto the next generation, you're going to want to remove all the ugly females, all the ugly males, keep your best 2. Buying larger numbers, more shrimp you can buy. Of course, this is going to increase the amount of high-grade stock that you'll be able to start out with. But with your first generation of babies, what I would do is maybe pop out 1 or 2 generations, because in 2 months, that's definitely doable. From different females and stuff like that. It'll be difficult to get all the females to berry up at once and produce that. But within like a good 3-month period, you can produce a good 2 generations of shrimp from several different females. And then what I would do personally is I would pull all of those shrimp out, and this is going to be the same for Caridina and everything like that. When selective breeding, this is just the best way to do it and the fastest way to improve on genetics. So remove all of the original shrimp that you purchased, just keeping the first generations, and then you've got to be very, very strict. I like to be strict even as small juveniles, because you can tell the ones that are really going to have a lot of color, that are going to shine, they're going to look good even at a small size. There is a chance that some of the ugly ducklings can turn into beautiful, beautiful high-grade shrimp by the end of their grading scale, but they're not going to be as nice as the ones that start off beautiful at day one. So remove those if you really want to be strict and dive into everything. Thank you, Vibes, for the water break. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Vibes, for the $1.99 super chat. Says, I'm here. Love Grant, love Shelby. Welcome in, Vibes.
Oh, we love you too, brother. So once you've got that first generation of babies, you've got to be strict. Remove all the ugly ones, and then you're going to let those grow out. You're going to breed them out, and then you're basically going to repeat this process until you have what you thought was your end goal of the quality. But there's always room for improvement to keep working. Maybe you can even grow some pigment up them antennas. Sky's the limits. You never know what's doable these days. So just all around selective breeding, that is the fastest way to do it. There is, if you're playing with numbers and you don't have a lot of money, you can mess around with 2 or 3 tanks. Sometimes setups are a lot cheaper than buying some of these high-end grade shrimp, especially with the fish bones and stuff like that. They can get up into $100, the boas and stuff like that. And then, that's kind of like almost a setup of an aquarium if you already have the RO set up, salts and everything else for the original tank.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anthony with Amazon Research Center for Ornamental Fishes.
I can't tell you thank you enough, Doc, for the discus. Shelby named one of them Roger, but she's like, I can't tell you which one's Roger, though.
I do now. It's the biggest.
The biggest one's Roger?
Yep, Roger.
All right, I can deal with that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anthony.
So we got to go the multiple tank wet route. Then it's definitely doable. You have 2 or 3 tanks. You move, the ugly females. You still keep some good male genetics in those tanks. Chances are you're going to get about like a 50-50 ratio with dealing with Caridina shrimp on high grade male to females. But with Neocaridina, it's going to be like a 9-to-1 ratio, if not worse than that, because with Neos, females are almost always going to gain a lot of color throughout maturity and become almost even painted. Getting a painted male is just very, very hard. The 1 out of 1,000 males will look like the best female in the tank, and keeping that one as your only male is going to be difficult. You always want to keep a backup stud or 2 if possible. Then with the Neos, culling from a very small size is going to give you a very good ratio of male to female right off the bat, because the males are going to be significantly lower grade than the females. So just feeding, throw them outside, and selective breeding. That's really all the tips and tricks I have for breeding high-end Neocaridina. Once they're outside, it will definitely help moving them inside, throwing them on a tank with black substrate over white substrate. They're not like cuttlefish, but they do have a little tiny reflex gene reflex to their pigments, and they will try to match their environment And I do think it's like a little bit better than like a chameleon's, except for like when they're trying to suntan, they can get really dark real quick.
All right, interrupting you for just
Go
a
for
second.
it, Garcia
So,
Aquatics.
no, this one is for Dr. Anthony.
Oh.
For the discus, I will play your video.
Oh. All right.
I hope that made it up. Okay. And then I see Garcia Aquatics coming in with a $5 super chat. Said Garcia Aquatics here. How are you guys and everyone in the chat? Thank you so much for your donation.
Garcia Aquatics, we're doing quite well. Actually, right before the stream started, I got an invitation to come speak for one of the clubs down by you. So I think we'll be that way a few times this year, but more than likely in July. I think it's the third Saturday. So looking forward to that. Gonna get some peacock bass.
You stop
For
at the most
sure.
inconvenient stuff.
Yeah, but definitely going to bring the rod and reel for sure this time.
Thank you so much, Garcia.
All right.
That's what you collect down south.
So gathering, the Neos on the black substrate, the black rows and stuff like that can be rather hard to see, but they are going to look their best. There's, of course, different foods you can feed and stuff like that. Crypt Keeper was talking on one of his videos. You sent Crypt the link?
Yes.
All right. On one of his videos that he doesn't like to feed food-altering, color-altering foods to his shrimp because the color enhancing and stuff like that isn't fair. Because if the person that you sell the shrimp to isn't using that color enhancing food and the shrimp loses color, it's just not right on them. So you like to keep them as true to their absolute organic color as possible. I guess that's the best way to say it. Anything else? You look like you got something to say.
When you get to Caridina, you got plenty of things to be talking about. So.
No, now it's Caridina. I don't.
Okay, so
am I missing anything about the
comment.
Neos?
Not that I know of. We could always retouch on Neos in any Neo video. So one of the first comments was Laban Turner said, "I set up a 7.5 gallon and am thinking of purchasing my livestock through you. I have crystal red shrimp in a community breeding tank. Should I move the shrimp to start a new exotic colony?"
So you could move the shrimp over to start a new exotic colony. However, if possible, and you want to start an exotic shrimp colony, bump up to a 10-gallon tank. Keep the crystals in a 7.5 gallon tank. Oh wait, I read this totally wrong. I'm so sorry. So a 7.5 gallon tank is definitely an all right tank. You're just not going to get a lot of breeding and a lot of size growth efficiently out of a 7.5 gallon tank, but it is doable. Should I move the shrimp? I would keep the shrimp in the community breeding tank. If they're breeding in the community tank and you have crystal red shrimp in there, I would keep that the way it is. That sounds wonderful. And getting a new, different type of shrimp in the 7.5 gallon would be fun. And you could always, throw your coals into the community tank if you get bored of that, and mix it up in the 7.5 gallon tank also. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I was going to get a genetics question. That was a tank question.
Lady R, seeing if they do with those ones specifically. Lady R said those shrimp in the thumbnail look beautiful. Caridinas, I presume. Yeah,
they're all Caridina. Originally, the whole talk was going to be about Caridina, but I thought just throwing out the Neos in the beginning would be a good touch-up, a good little warm-up. There wasn't as much on my notes list as I thought there would be when I started writing out all the Caridina. So I'm like, let's throw in the Neos.
All right, pause.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. I'm trying to find Jeff Kane's thing. It doesn't show up on this side, but I see it on here. Jeff Kane just gifted 20 memberships.
I don't even know what you do for that.
Pay the donation 20 times. Just
No,
kidding. That
play
would
the
be easy.
donation and then like a Caridina or a Neocaridina. Which kind of shrimp donation? Just the Neo
It's
ones?
gifted Yeah, I know. I don't know. It doesn't tell you.
It doesn't tell you what kind of Neo membership or.
I almost allowed gifts for me to get one. That would have sucked. Thank you so much, Jeff K.
I just wanted to
That's
play the
crazy.
right video.
Thank
I
you.
don't care which one it's Neo or Caridina or Silhouette.
Welcome. Oh, we should have a welcome all video. That would be so cool. Let's just do the Neo. I think it's the cutest.
You're going to be sending out a lot of stickers next week. That's for sure.
So, if you did get gifted, and Jeff, did you ever get a sticker? You too.
I'm sure Jeff has gotten a sticker with one of his orders.
Maybe.
It's.
Who knows? I forget stickers all the time. Make sure to email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com your address, and we'll send out that sticker and your membership card. And here is a blanket all welcome video. I love those yellows.
So thank you so much, Jeff. Everybody that got a membership, will send us your email. We can send you guys a 10% off code through the email. This is a 10% off to our website, TGOEshrimp.com. We do have a sale running on right now through Valentine's Day. Ends on the 15th. Everything is buy 10, get 3 free. We have free shipping on all orders over $100. And also we're running a little fundraiser for the American Heart Association. So 10% of all sales will also be going to the American Heart Association. So thank you, Jeff, again. And then we're going to dive right into some Caridina talk. And I lost my co-host. She's back.
So
dying of allergies yet again this week.
Well, I didn't realize that some people don't know. We forgot telling people that you get this fancy membership sticker. It's for members only. And yeah, I lost train of thought.
I already told them about the coupon code, so
we're good. Okay.
Thank you again,
but there's some
Jeff.
people that don't know about that, so that have been watching us for a little bit. I guess we stopped saying it. So.
We've been busy. We've got a lot going on. We have caught up. All of the orders should be. We do have the giveaway that we have to give away from last week, and I was planning on doing it in the next 2 days. But everything besides the breeder boxes have been shipped out. And get the tracking sent out soon. So on to Caridina shrimp. We already went over selective breeding. So anybody that missed that, you can dive back into the first 15 minutes of chat. It was kind of basically going over our selective breeding method. What do you guys get if you cross crystals with blue bolts? You get a Michelin shrimp. A Michelin is going to look like a crystal shrimp, but it has the genetics for Taiwan bees. When you cross those back together, you'll get a mixture of crystals, Michelins, and you'll get a mix of Taiwan bees because you've got the red gene with the crystal reds, and then you've got blue and black in the blue bolt. Even if the black isn't visible, they will still produce Mizoras or even shadow pandas, depending on the blue bolt line.
Interrupt you again. Vibes with the $4.99 super chat says, I want a membership sticker. Back to water changes.
Oh man, listen, if we haven't gotten you a membership sticker, email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com because we haven't shipped out any of those in like a week. So I can guarantee you, if you don't have one, we just need a little update, a little reminder. I had some family issues going on. My uncle needs a liver he won't be able to get. It's a big reason why we didn't plan out any of the trips. I didn't know if he needed a partial liver or anything like that. I'm a universal donor, so I didn't want to plan out a trip and then not been able to travel or anything like that. But We are all caught up from all that madness now, and anybody that needs a sticker or anything like that, reach out to us and we'll be happy to make that up to you.
Thank you so much, Vibes. I know we're still behind, so
all right,
talking fast.
So crystal shrimp, I mentioned earlier, you don't need to add new blood. With crystals, it's very, very hard to get that white pigment nice and bright, very clean, you want to say. A lot of times you'll have like a pinkish, or it'll be like just broken up patterns, or look little creamy or eggshell color. You want it to be nice and bright and vibrant, like a TGOE for the highest grade possible, and that's going to be difficult. So breeding over time for the nicest, brightest white is what I would recommend to do with crystal shrimp. I wouldn't really, worry too much about pattern. There's a huge market for 3-band and 4-banded crystal shrimp, and then there's a huge market for Misuras, or the just mixed match patterns of crystal shrimp in general. As long as the red is nice and bright and beautiful, which is easy to do, that's not a problem. But if you have a really clean white pattern or white color to your shrimp, that's going to be really desirable, very high grade, and it's going to get you a lot of points when entering in the contest. So basically, selective breeding for the highest quality white is your best way to go. I wouldn't worry too much about pattern. And of course, pulling out the babies that are the brightest white, or juveniles, that's going to increase your chances of having nicer, thicker white shells. Diet can play out on this. If you're feeding a food that has the red coloration pigment to it, it is going to change your crystal shrimps a little bit pinkish or peachy.
Say hi to Scuba Steve.
I didn't know if you were going to read it or not. No.
What?
I don't recognize you hitting the dislike.
I think he meant to say if you don't recognize him.
Oh,
He's
I
hitting
got
the
you.
dislike.
All right. Sorry.
And he asked, what's the difference between, how do you tell between male and female shrimp?
All right. So the best way to tell between the male and female shrimp is look at the bellies. The Sulu SA shrimp is a little bit different. We're not going to talk about those tonight. But with Neocaridina and Caridina shrimp, the belly of a male is going to be flat, like floor to flat. No curvature to it at all whatsoever. However, with females, it might not show until they're 2 centimeters. It might not even show until they're, peaking at 3 centimeters and they're just late bloomers. But they will get a little bit of curve to the body. With Neocaridinas and some of the Tybees, tang ties, tiger shrimp, ghost bees, and stuff like that, you can see a saddle right behind the head in the shrimp. These are unfertilized eggs. Of course, if you see fertilized eggs, guaranteed that's a female. And then the kind of pro way to do this is to look at the antenna. Males will have super long antennas, and there's like different sets of antennas. So don't quote me on this one right away, but I believe it's the one that comes right off the nose that points up. If those antenna are short, then it's a female. But if those antenna are really long, like I'm talking 3 times the length of the other ones, then those are going to be male. They use those really long antenna, I believe, to hunt out the females during the part when they release hormones. So, all right. I think I went over crystal shrimp and getting the brightest white. Let's work on the Tybees. First of all, let's cover what a Tybee is. A Tybee is when you take a bee shrimp and cross it with a tiger shrimp. Now, the bee can be anything. It can be a crystal shrimp, Taiwan bee, ghost bee, anything along those lines, as long as it's a bee shrimp. And then your tiger shrimp can be any kind of tiger that's going to breed with Caridina. Can't use raccoon tigers. However, You know, maybe it's possible, and somebody just hasn't tried hard enough yet. However, it's very, very uncommon for certain crosses of tigers, like the Stardust, which were believed to be Paracaridina, but nobody really knows. So most of the other tiger shrimp, like the Caridina Maria, orange-eyed blue tigers, red tigers, super tigers, orange-eyed red tigers with blue bodies, the rusty ones, the royals, and then the serrata. You have the tangerine tigers, aurora blues, and the cheetahs, which are the newer variety. Those are the serrata tigers. Not a lot of fancy Tybees come out of using the serrata gene. Those will get real fancy when you cross back a Taiwan bee with them, and you get the Tybees. And the specific ones out of those are like your blue steels, your galaxy pintos, your red Nanashi, your black Nanashi, and stuff like that. Um, those are going to be a different talk a little bit later. But sticking with the fancy tigers or the Tybees, fancy tigers are just a higher grade Tybee, but you must use the Caridina Maria as your original cross to make the Tybee. Then from there, you are just crossing back uh, selective breeding to try and get the nicest dots, the headgear on the face, nice tiger stripes. But most importantly, in order for it to be a fancy tiger, it's got to have full coverage pigment, head to toe, no gaps or breaks or anything like that. That's really going to be difficult to achieve. This can take up to like 10 generations if you're really being strict on your selective breeding standards. You can do it possibly a little bit sooner, but about ballpark average is 10 generations to get those nice high grade fancy tigers that you see on the market. It is doable to get those by taking shortcuts using Taiwan bees and stuff like that, but it's going to mud up the genes, and I don't like seeing the tie bees come out of my fancy tigers, but all the lines do these days.
All right, interrupting you with Lady R coming in. Quick question on Neos. Are there desirable traits to look for to have a quality line of wild type Neos? Thank you for your knowledge.
So I always like these like real thick wild type Neos that just have like a marbling pattern to them. Not so much of like the spotty stripy pattern that you'll get out of like the green jade and black rose culls, but every now and then when you crossbreed some of the Neocaridina, they come out looking like camouflage print almost, where all of the dots and spots kind of merge into one another, and you'll get like different black or blue pigments to them. I think if anybody were to selective breed the wild type shrimp, it would be for those lines. Other than that, I think all the color that you can pull out of the wild type Neos has already been done. So I wouldn't work on a new color straight from wild. I would try to selective breed the other colors, like if you're working on pink or purple.
So I'm actually working on something that I like, and it doesn't matter that it's going to be cool or not. But our orange neocols are actually throwing a lot of green wilds. So I actually have been collecting all of those green wilds, and I think green wilds are the coolest looking ones so far. So, I mean, I'm hoping to have a stable line of just green wilds where they're just green with stripes on them and just solid all the time. So
I can give you some green jade
cool.
culls. I got you.
Nah. These ones are special. They throw oranges.
Well, we'll see about that, because I also had in the other pond in the greenhouse, and that's why I haven't sold any of my orange Rillies, is because there were some of the orange Rilly pattern had green coloration to them as well. So we'll see whose greens are better, Shelby. Going down. You can't win everything.
Alberto said personal favorite strain of Caridina / Neocaridina.
All right, Caridina is going to be the green Tang Tai. For Neocaridina, it's going to be the green emeralds. if I preferred, I like the gold backlines that I'm working on in one tank. I need to get the yellow King Kongs out of there. But yeah, it's fun. Caridina for Shelby.
Right now, oh man, this just changes up way too much. Right now, it's the orange-eyed extreme red King Kongs. Those are beautiful.
The Red Devils.
Yeah.
Because you're from Pal.
He ain't lying. And then Neos. I really like working with the orange right now. They're really cool. It's just a project. It's too much work to actually have them by themselves, and enjoy them, because they throw a lot of coals compared to every other strain of Neos. But orange for now.
So back to the fancy tigers. We've got to selective breed for the most dots, the most stripes on the back. Very good coloration is a key importance. There's a question where I get a lot is, can we keep the red and the black lines together and not worry about browns? 100% you can. You won't get any of the brown coloration unless you stop focusing on the black pigments. If you throw some black coals that have the brown coloration to them, yeah, sure, they're going to throw a little bit of brown spotting and stuff like that. But if you have nothing but really deep, dark black fancy tigers with nice reds, chances are you're going to get a little bit of that dragon's blood coloration where it's like red and black marbling, or your red might thicken up a little bit blacker, but your black will never go brown. You'll never throw any browns or anything like that. So this is going to also apply to the Galaxy Pintos as well.
Brandon said, I recently got 2 boas, male, female. What's the best strategy to start a colony with them? Got them in a little breeder box to keep them closer together.
Get them out of that breeder box. That's the number one thing I'm going to recommend. I'm selling breeder boxes. I understand, but I got to be honest with you guys. If I wanted to breed some very high-end shrimp, a 10-gallon tank is good for them. They're going to be able to find each other. They're not going to be stunted on growth rate or anything like that, and they're not going to be stressed out. A breeder box, even well planted with a little bit of substrate and stuff like that, can be a little bit more stressful on the female than in a 10-gallon tank, because in a 10-gallon tank, say the male has already tagged her and she's already got fertile eggs, but she's still releasing hormones and the male doesn't know that. So, if you've seen her tagged her and you can get that male out of the breeder box, that's great. But I would personally put 2 boas in a 10-gallon tank to get a colony going with them and give them their best chance possible. It's doable in a breeder tank, but the possibility for stress is a little bit higher. I like the breeder boxes personally for photographs, and that's kind of what we designed the whole box for. That's why they got the grid lines and everything like that. It's got feeder ports and stuff like that, because shrimp kind of get a little stressed out and frantic when you first catch them and put them in a new environment. So I wanted them to be able to survive in an enclosure long enough that they could acclimate to it a little bit, de-stress. You can go back the next day, turn the lights on, and get some really great photos, and with the size reference grading to them.
Perfect. All right, interrupting you real quick. 2 questions real fast.
Go for it.
Daniel asks, bringing stock to North Carolina or just speaking? I think that's the Aqua Expo, which is North Carolina, that we were talking about.
I don't think I'm speaking, so I think we'll be
just
bringing stock, or we'll just be doing the shrimp contest. I don't know, because the week beforehand, I kind of want to go to Sacramento. I kind of want to do it.
You're crazy.
I want to do it. It's Cali. I want to go. And then the week after, I'm speaking in Pennsylvania, and I want to go see Eric Boderox and stuff like that. So unless we have to do the week before, we haven't decided. There's a lot of things we're flipping coins on.
Yeah.
The Clash.
Welcome in 88 Chevy said, first time making it live. Had a bluefin killie come in from an egg on driftwood from Arkansas. Will only eat bloodworms. Tried inducing introducing multiple foods with no luck. What do they eat for y'all? I use Bug Pro, but Grant has also been using this other stuff that is the tetracolor granules, and he's got the big ones. So obviously, do you want smaller ones or break it up really good? And it's a red color, so most fish really do like red color, and it helps the fish. But I like Bug Pro or the other one. You could also, that's the best without having to do live.
Bug Pro is so good.
Live
Shelby
foods.
loves it so much she puts it on her steak and everything. So like,
All
I
right.
really,
Let's move on.
I really don't know why she won't move on to the tetracolor granule pellets, other than the fact that she needs to keep buying it for her steak seasoning. I'm
Please
gonna get
move
you off that
on
Bug
with
Pro
your-
one day. I thought you had more questions.
No,
I'm sorry.
that was it.
All right. So I think that brings it all up to speed with the Fancy Tigers. If anybody had any other questions on those, I'd be happy to answer those. Moving on to Taiwan bees, we've got blue bolts, red King Kongs, black King Kongs, Missouri shadow pandas, normal pandas. You can throw red bolts in there, and then green hulks and blue jellies. But if you're ever trying to breed high grade Taiwan bees, stay away from the green hulks and the blue jellies, because those are automatically starting off as low grade shrimp. That is what is giving them the effect of looking blue or green, because as they grow, they mature to adulthood. Almost 99.99999% of them turn full black. There are a few that have lasted, a couple breeding cycles, might have died earlier or something like that never turned black on me. But like I said, 99.9 repeating, honestly. I tried so many times. It was the first Taiwan bee that I ever got. So like 9 years ago, and I haven't let it down, but I've kind of given up on finding somebody that's going to bring them into the United States now. So it's probably a dead dream unless I'm going to make it myself. But if you're going to breed high-end shrimp, stay away from those. You don't want them anyways. With red King Kongs and black King Kongs, it really is selective breeding for pattern. However, with black King Kongs alone, you could go for solid white or you could go for blue color. Now, in Germany and I don't know if it's the same issue in Asia, but in Germany, they have a big issue with finding pure pandas without the white pigment. And I think that would be doable if you just had a really nice line of red King Kongs and you crossbred those with a pure black line. You could make your own pure black line, your own black panda line if you had to redo it. But a lot of people like the blue. I prefer the blue color, the shadow pandas, the 1 and 2 stripe King Kongs. If they have a little blue coloration to them, I prefer that a lot better. Vibes is coming in hot with the water changes, huh?
The 4.99 said, "Don't worry about getting the sticker. Love y'all. Good news. Water changes done. Check that off the list."
So now you can come my way and help me and do all mine, right, Vibes?
Oh, goodness.
So I prefer the black King Kongs to have the blue coloration to them, but it is all preference. But when entering in a contest, I would go for one or the other. Don't try and mix it up. That way you get the full coloration for points. With black King Kongs, they can be a little bit more solid. They don't flip-flop on color too much. But with shadow pandas, they do tend to be a little moody, just like the blue bolts, where 1 week they'll look the most deep dark blue, like the TGOE symbol on the bottom of the screen. However, the next week they could be half blue, half white. They fluctuate quite a bit. I call them the most moody shrimp that we have. And for the most part, the extreme is what everybody wants. But even during a few days in shipping, a shrimp can go from extreme blue to half blue or even less. It could be just the head is blue, and then the other 3/4 of the body is going to be a nice white color or like a faded blue to tail. It really varies on the shrimp and how it's feeling that day. So it's really hard to enter high grade blue bolts and get them to hold their true color. I've seen it go both ways, where somebody entered in lower grade blue bolts and they looked really, really great during competition, and other people enter extremely nice blue bolts and they kind of look real faded when it comes to judging time. So for Taiwan bees, I lean more towards the red King Kongs because they don't throw different color pigments. I don't have to worry about the white changing to blue. But if you're out there and you've got some red King Kongs and they throw any blue coloration pigment to that, please selective breed the crap out of those and then sell me the first batch of babies, because that is a dream shrimp. I'm hoping that we can make that one day. Shelby's got some red Galaxy Pintos that are throwing a little blue coloration to it. She doesn't know it, but I've been selective breeding those for her.
Don't touch my shrimp.
Well, I have to sell them, so I'm selling the ones that don't have the blue.
Don't touch my shrimp.
Well, you tell me I have to touch the shrimp because you won't sell
What
the
is
shrimp.
lapis? It is a type of shrimp. I don't know what type of shrimp.
You don't know what type of shrimp?
No,
So
I
it's
don't
an
know where it
orange-eyed
comes from.
shrimp, referring to
I
a
need to know
mudded
that.
up pattern. So like an orange-eyed red lapis is going to be like all different kinds of red King Kong, red Nanashi wannabe style pattern, where the red is a nice ruby color, but the white is kind of like washed out. It's not really there. You can kind of see it wants to be white, but it's like a ghostly white. It's not like the black and red King Kong white pigment.
Sibley Warrior said, if I bought a high-end shrimp, would it make it more sense to buy low-grade and cull high-ends, or try to budget for a higher end that breeds a higher percentage of high grades, breeding for profit?
So breeding for profit, this really depends on your budget, because the amount of money that you put into this and the amount of patience that you have, you're going to get more money out of that. So you can spend $100 on 10 boa shrimp, and the majority of those will come out and produce babies or be male. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, with your best circumstances, right? And then babies from your boas, you're going to be throwing a lot of different grades of Galaxy Pintos, with a very small percentage of the babies coming out boas. The reason why the boa shrimp are so much more money is because there's so much more work into producing them, that you're just culling out 90% of the stock, and then you've got to keep some for yourself in order to move on for the next generation to improve. So the amount of boas that people actually end up having out of their boa colonies is significantly low. So if you don't have the money to fork out $1,000 to start on a nice colony of boas, you can start with $25 Galaxy Pintos. But out of the babies, a very small percentage of those are going to be nice Galaxy Pintos, and then you're going to have a bunch of culls in different grades. But you can get lucky and pull a boa out of those galaxies and stuff like that with a little bit of work down the line. So it's really patience and money. And it's really, for me, it's what my budget would be right now. If I only have $300 to go get the shrimp, I would go and buy $300 worth of Galaxy Pintos rather than doing $1,000 worth of boas. I'm also patient enough that I like working on the line that I can eventually work towards the boa line. I also didn't finish the lapis question, and vice versa for the blacks. It's okay. That's all I had to say.
And Nate the Shrimp Nut, I just found your email. I have your address. I'll send out your membership sticker. I was supposed to send it out during Black Friday and forgot it. It's written over there in the box. So that's my bad. Sorry. Sometimes they don't make it in the box. Yeah, it's already ready. It's just I didn't put it in the box when you just.
All right.
That's my bad. Sorry.
Well,
I got it written down though. Sometimes we need a little reminder if you don't get it. I still had it though.
So Galaxy Pintos, we've got a variety of different ways to go about breeding those. You can go for color, you can go for pattern. I would prefer to go for pattern with these, and I would selective breed for the most dots possible first, because there's a market for both fishbone and the regular zebra stripes. But what everybody wants are the nice headgear dots on the face. And then there's other people that have to have the dots on the body. But there's basically nobody that's going to complain about having dots on the body. It's just a bonus. So when breeding the Galaxy Pintos, go for the most dots. Count them on both sides. Both sides of the shrimp should be fairly different. But if you've got it down in males and you've got to pick out your best one, count the dots if you have to. But breeding for nice fishbone and stuff like that, that could be part of your goals as well. I just think that's a lot easier to accomplish than the snowflake pattern. So when breeding the higher grade shrimp, I would selectively go for the dots and the headgear, because that's how you get the boas.
Give you a break real quick. Mario asked, any tips on catching out all the shrimp out of a heavily painted tank? Best way is going to feed them and slowly catch them out.
I'll also do a good trimming on the tank, and then drain it down to wherever the trim line is. And then what Shelby said, bait them out. It might take a while, but definitely go for the adults and the pregnant ones first. And then as the babies grow up, you can catch them if you need be.
And that, if you absolutely have to get every shrimp out of that tank, you could drain it all the way down, water change it, and tip it. Don't know how big your planted tank is, but tip it to the corner and start scooping them out. But there might be a couple of babies left over. You can't always get all of them out.
Well, it could be a mudslide, an avalanche. You could go south real quick tipping it. I don't know. I don't know if we should be recommending it.
It could. I mean, if they're desperate.
So orange-eyed shrimp, we already talked about the lapis a little bit. These are one of the shrimp that are becoming newer and newer on the market. For these, to breed the highest grade shrimp possible, it's just going for the color that you want. I wouldn't worry about pattern on these guys at all. I would go for color. If you want white, if you want blue steels or anything like that, breed out the color, and then everything else will be easier after that. Orange-eyed shrimp, they're very unstable still, even like the shrimp that Shelby likes as her favorite one, the orange-eyed red devils. I've heard those throw like orange-eyed yellow King Kongs and stuff like that. So still a really unstable line out there, but breeding for the color, you'll get the higher grades in no time. An orange-eyed blue tiger shrimp, just like the same exact thing. If you want the royals, you want the black tiger shrimp, selective breed the same way with the Neocaridina, and you'll be able to get those nice royal coloration to them.
Eric Rain says, I have dragon's bloods and orange-eyed blue tigers. If I crossbreed them, would there be any change to get orange-eyed dragon bloods?
So, if you wanted to make orange-eyed dragon bloods, I'm not exactly sure on how to go about doing it or anything like that. But with the first cross with this generation, you're going to have the first generation with this cross, you're going to have no orange-eyed to them whatsoever. And then the second cross, if you cross the orange eyes back with them, I'm sure you'll get some really cool bluish pigment orange eyes to them. But will they look anything like blue dragon's bloods? It takes some work for sure and some selective breeding. But I don't know if you'd ever be able to call them legit, true orange-eyed dragon bloods. Now that that's actually a thing out there. I think the original breeder also produced the orange-eyed variants to them as well. So it leads me to think that there's orange-eyed yellow King Kong. Yellow King Kong blood to them, because there's orange-eyed yellow King Kongs that you could use to make them. So if you have orange-eyed yellow King Kongs over the orange-eyed blues, I would do those instead.
Abstract Aquarius said, any knowledge on super tiger shrimp you can share?
So they're a wild type shrimp. They should have a nice yellow coloration if they're higher grade on the nose. There is absolutely no super tigers that have any orange-eyed pigment to them whatsoever. So if you have or see a colony or hear about a colony that's throwing orange-eyed coloration to them, chances are somebody had gotten an orange-eyed blue tiger shrimp or a cull or something involved in that strain, and they're not true super tigers. And a lot of times they'll have the kind of similar tiger striping coloration to them, the blue and everything like that, but they won't have the nice yellow faces.
Fish and Wall said, how do you reduce nitrates? Any tricks to increase growth and breeding of crystal red shrimp?
I was just breathing. I wasn't done with the super tigers. They
Oh,
do
I'm
breed
so
a little
sorry.
bit. They do breed a little bit quicker in Caridina parameters than they do the Neos, but they are very hardy on whatever parameter you, as long as you keep them like below 8 pH and under 75-degree temperature. I don't think tigers do very well in higher temperatures, and that's why I don't think we're going to be able to work with them outside. But who knows? Maybe the Tangerine Tigers will prove me wrong, and we'll move on to the next one. Why are you smiling like that?
Your pauses make me uncomfortable.
Well, I gotta think sometimes.
All right. So, Fish of the Wall again said, how do you reduce nitrates?
All right. So, with shrimp, a good way to reduce nitrates is having a nicely cycled sponge filter. With that alone, the bioload of shrimp is so low that the sponge is enough to keep the nitrates out. If you're overfeeding, reduce the amount of food that you're feeding. That will help. If you've got like a community tank or a fish tank or something like that, adding plants is going to help remove nitrates. Floaters is going to be a good one. The bigger the floater, the faster the floater grows, the more nitrates and organics it's going to pull out of the water. And then growth and breeding of crystal shrimp. If you have them in a smaller tank than a 10-gallon, bump them up. The bigger the tank, the better, and increase those water changes and feedings. If you're feeding every other day and they're eating all the food within an hour, feed twice as much. And as long as they're eating it within 2 or 3 hours, you're doing all right. I wasn't done.
Stop.
I had so much more to say about growth and crystal shrimp.
Dr. Anthony says, I have 10 tanks of shrimp now. No idea what they are, but forgot to mark the tanks and 4 Caridinas and 6 Neos. Just take pictures and send them to Grant. Bother him all day.
I'll do it. But only because he taught me how to say Codopera. And every time Shelby says it wrong, I always, Shelby,
That's
the
your
doctor.
fault.
It's not my fault. It's Kevin Kelly's fault.
And then he asked me, so no fish bones? I thought they were your faves. They are, but like it changes all the time. So I just get bored a little bit. And he asked if you knew how to make hormones.
No.
You just play good music, right?
No.
Okay.
Just throw Slim Jims in the tank.
I'm behind on the question, that's for sure.
All right.
I'll answer that one later.
Bring him up. It's early.
Okay.
But it's time.
It's time.
Because it's a not your regular segment this week. Let's go. What's
How you guys
up,
doing?
I'm doing all right. I realize there's going to be people that are going to be really upset because we get a lot of people that come right on the hour, especially just for your question of the week. So,
Oh boy,
these people are going to be like, "Oh man, I missed it. I'm a whole Rico behind already." So,
yeah. What are we? 5 minutes ahead? Is that what it says up in the corner? Yeah, I think so. It's not too horrible though. So
I actually thought we were at 44 minutes and not 54 minutes in. My eyesight is horrible.
So, Shelby, I did put the precursor to the question in the chat. Yeah, I forget exactly where it was. It was about 5 minutes ago. roughly?
Oh, hold on. Before she says that, we got Nate the Shrimp Nut. Congratulations on your 500 subs. Next week, everybody, at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time, we will be on Monday. We'll be on Crypt Keeper's live stream for his 500 sub giveaway. We're giving away a little package. Tim's giving away a little something. Keith's giving away a little something. So it's going to be a lot of fun next week. All 79 of you, I expect you to be in there, or you're going to miss out. So
yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun.
If somebody could throw Tim's Crypt Keepers link into the channel, it'd be much appreciated. Or Tim, you can get to it when you jump back on.
All right.
All right. Hit me with the question, Shelby. Well, you hit Tim with the question. Tim, you hit me.
So everyone says to buy the highest grade shrimp that you can find. They also say that you only get a few high grades off from each batch of offspring. So I do have a few questions on that. The first question, we'll start easy with the Taiwan bees. So will a Taiwan bee such as a blue bolt or red King Kong, for example, ever produce something other than their original?
So absolutely, with Taiwan bees, they can be a deck of cards, meaning you can throw out a bunch of red cards and eventually you'll end up with a black. It's definitely possible. However, there are ways to selectively breed the line to get them to breed true. We have a line of blue bolts that throws absolutely nothing but blue bolts, except for 1 out of 1,000 shrimp, it'll give us a Missouri. I've also had blue bolts that produce red bolts and lines that never produce red bolts. So the same thing with like red King Kongs. I've had lines that bred true nothing but red King Kongs, and then I've also had lines that throw the homozygous where they're man, I'm pretty sure I butchered that. I can't remember now. Anyways, there's lines that will have both genes and they'll throw both red and black shrimp. So it really depends on the breeder. If you're getting them from like an importer or something like that, chances are you're going to get a party mix on the first generation of babies. But man, I can't look at the question. Do you have it pulled up? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that did. All
right. All right.
So a follow-up question to that would be if I was to buy the highest grade of one of the Taiwan bees, so like a Blue Bolt Extreme or a Red King Kong Extreme, what kind of ratio can I expect of low grades to come off the offspring if I'm buying the highest quality from the best breeders?
So, like, just a quick little fun fact. Almost every extreme Black King Kong and Red King Kong that I've ever bred myself ends up being male, and everyone I've ever bought ended up being a male as well. I don't think that it's like true across the board. I just think that's my luck. You know what I mean? When you breed out the black pandas and red pandas and stuff like that, you'll breed 1,000 of the pandas, the one stripe, the two stripe King Kongs, and you'll only get maybe 5 extremes out of those. So it's just a very low number of extremes, and that's why the price of an extreme is almost like 3 or 4 times the price of a panda shrimp. However, if you're breeding the extremes, you're gonna get, maybe a 25% ratio of extremes back, and then a 50% ratio of 1 to 2 stripes, and then like a still probably 25% of pandas, even with there being absolutely no white pigment in the mix at all. But again, this is going to come down, where did you get the shrimp from? Did you get them from an importer that's just pulling an extreme out of every tank? Then I feel like you're going to get a very high ratio of pandas, where if you got them from a line that, say if you got him from Ruben at Shrimp Pimpin' and he's got Black King Kong Extremes or something like that, and he's his second generation in, of selective breeding them, you might get, higher 50% of the extremes out of those and 25 of the stripes and pandas. But without knowing the source of where they're coming from, it's very difficult. And then when dealing with like the extreme blue bolts, I had mentioned earlier in the stream, they're moody. So right away as babies, a lot of them will look real nice, and you can move those extreme nice ones into a different tank, and they're not going to look so nice through stages of them growing up. So it's just really, watching the ones that are white, and when they color up, they don't fully color up, and you remove those ones, and you keep and breed the ones that do hit those extremes.
Okay. All right, so now we'll move on to crystals. Is there an expected ratio between the 4S pattern versus the 1S pattern? So, like the ones that only have like 1 or 2 stripes on them versus the ones that have 3 to 4?
Yeah, again, these are going to all depend on the line of the shrimp, the breeder that you got them from, and stuff like that. So like the famous line is like the K14s. Those are the smiley face ones where they got the dots on the head and the smiley faces. I don't know anybody in the United States that have got a line of those going ever. I think somebody did before I got into the hobby, but I have absolutely no clue what his ratio of offspring was. Are they breeding thousands of shrimp overseas, and then out of those thousands, there's only 10 of them that have the smiley face pattern, and then they pull those aside and they're able to charge the high end market price for them,
Okay.
because everybody that I've talked to that got them, there was like no smiley face patterns on the babies of the offspring, and that's why a lot of these shrimp, that the fancy patterns and stuff, they kind of they have that little higher price tag to them, but it comes with breeding thousands of shrimp to get it.
Okay.
So I can't really answer your ratio or anything like that without knowing the line and stuff where it came from, because even the good lines, they might be just sending you, from tank 2, 3, or 4, and you're not getting out of the main tank even.
Gotcha. Yeah, so with all of these questions that I've got, I was kind of going with the mindset of buying only from the highest grade from the best U.S. breeders type of deal, not the imports.
Yeah. So again, has that person had the line for 4 or 5 years, or did they just get it and you know what I mean? So it's all going to depend on how much individual work each line has gotten. There's not really any for sure. I've got different lines in the house from different breeders that I've got going for 3 or 4 years that all produce different patterns for those. So like my Missouri for my crystal shrimp tank, I'll get maybe 25% of them won't be Misuras. So I've just been selective breeding for the pattern in that tank for many, many years now. And now I'm going for, all right, let's get the brightest white possible. So I'm not getting a lot of culls with any red markings. They're still there, but it's like maybe 25% of them. The rest of them are all Missouri pattern. But then I have basically a tank where I've been keeping the culls, and almost all of those come out as 3 stripes. Maybe 10% will come out Missouri. But again, since I very first took the line, I've been throwing my culls in that tank. And with crystal shrimp, I don't even, and they're not even culls. They're not like the orange neo culls where they don't look orange. They're just not the Missouri. So instead of selling it for $10, I would sell these ones for $5 because they're still a good pattern for a crystal shrimp. The coloration and everything's there. It's just not the Missouri grade that I was going for. So I do have a colony, but they're almost all 3 stripes from that line. Very rare do I get the Misuras popping out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I personally prefer the 3 stripe anyway. I like having a little more color on them, but I just wasn't sure if I was to buy a higher grade if long term profitability type of deal.
No, I would really try and locate the brightest white colony you can find. and run with that one. And like a better thing to do would be like buy 2 lines, buy from somebody that you really like, and then the next person down, and then take your 5 best shrimp and breed those together. Because chances are when they grow up, you're not going to have, perfect 10 shrimp to work with or anything like that. You're going to want to stay strict and start moving along and make your own, path with those shrimp, so that way you can have your own thing to work with. And you don't want to just go, oh, I just bought these shrimp off of Reuben, and now I've worked on them 3 generations in their mind. It'll look a lot better if you go, I picked the best from Reuben stock, and then I went and picked the best from Carrick stock, or, somebody like that. And now I have what I think is what I'm working down that road. So if you're going with crystal shrimp, I would definitely try and buy the brightest whites from the 2 nicest colonies that you think are going on in the United States right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So ready for some hybrids now?
Yeah, I just got to say, the only problem with buying pure lines of shrimp from 2 different people and then mixing them is, say one line wasn't pure, then you don't know who got you. You know what I mean? So,
right.
But if you buy them from trusted people, you shouldn't have that issue.
So if I was to buy 2 different lines of crystals and mix them, set up 3 tanks, keep 1 for person A, 1 for person B, and then the 3rd tank for the cross.
Or you just got to have enough trust that you just do 1 tank, and the 2 people involved are good people. It's rough when you've seen people like, oh, I was it you that had like some blacks pop up in your pure red lines or something like that?
It was a pure black line. I had 2 red babies, but I haven't seen a single red one since.
But you got shrimp from 3 different people. You know what I mean? So you don't know who the culprit was, and that's going to be like basically the same thing. Maybe breed them out, and if they get any opposite color or anything like that, just throw them in the other crystal tank and start over.
All right.
Pick your favorite breeder and then your 3rd favorite breeder, and then you shouldn't have any issues.
Okay. So you guys will be 3rd. I mean,
or if you do have issues, then go back to the second favorite breeder. Your 1st favorite's you got to kick him off the list. He was the issue.
All right. So are hybrids any more stable than the others, like the Taiwan bees and stuff like that, in terms of getting high grades off from a colony?
So Taiwan bees wouldn't be a hybrid. They are technically a pure line that hasn't been established if it is a hybrid or a mutation or not. So the Taiwan bees, I really don't want to consider them a hybrid until genetic testing has been done. There's even like a website that just came out recently that has them labeled as collected in Asia in like 2002 or arrived in Asia, and it's like, no, they were a mutation. So it just hasn't seemed like they were collected. But like, so yellow King Kongs, those breed really true. If you grab my line, mine kind of throw the Rillies, so that's kind of like a bad example. But if you grab any other random yellow King Kong line, they breed for the most part extremely yellow through and through all the way out. Another really good one are going to be blue steels. They don't flip-flop color as much as the blue bolts do. For the most part, if it's half blue and half white, that's its color throughout the majority of its life. That's like a big difference between the blue steels and the blue bolts. Of course, the red steels would be the same on to that. And then the orange eye shrimp. A lot of the lines of orange eye shrimp are going to be a lot more stable than, say, your Galaxy pintos and stuff like that. But then on the other end, your spot head pintos and German pintos, they throw a little bit less coals, but they still, that's why we have the mixed pinto packs, is because out of my spotted pintos, I still get the belly and the zebra pintos pop out of those. So That's kind of how we call those out. They're still really nice pintos. They come from really good genetics, real strong colors and stuff like that, but they still throw, a good 50% ratio of culls, but they're not really culls. They're just different patterns.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned something about the orange eyes breeding true. My orange eye colony has only given me babies with the orange eyes. Is there ever going to be a day where they start producing some black eyes occasionally?
So this is one of those weird ones where the answer should be absolutely all the babies will come out orange eye. But I have like a couple of people who I trust and they hold, some type of
Credibility.
Yeah, credibility in the hobby. I was gonna say respect. I don't know why I wanted to say responsibility, but they didn't have a responsibility. Where one eye will be orange and one eye comes out black from pure colonies without mixing them or doing anything. And then I believe Ryan Hoagland sold me some orange-eyed shrimp, and he said that they also throw non-orange-eyed shrimp as well. And I do have them kind of going in their own in a tank together. And every time I try to pull out all of the normalized shrimp, there's always like a baby that ends up growing up in the moss, and it's like a male the next time I come through the cycle. So I can't ever get the normal eyes out of there to see if it's that, or maybe he's got the exact same issue I have, where he just never gets that male out before he's breedable, and then he tags a female. So I've even moved them into a different cull tank, but I moved all the normal eyes over there. I need to take some of all the orange eyes, move them into a cull tank, and see if they'll produce normal eyes. So there's really only those two examples of it happening. Besides that, all of my orange-eyed blue tigers have thrown nothing but orange-eyed blue tigers in the last 9 years. I've been breeding 10 different lines. Same with the orange-eyed yellow King Kongs and everything like that. We've got some orange-eyed lapis and other lines, and I've never gotten any normals out of there. So it's just those two examples, really. And I think even myself in one of the hybrid tanks, I had a normal and an orange-eyed shrimp as well. I can't remember.
The orange eyes recessive, though, it kind of sounds a little backwards to me.
So
you would think that it would be a little bit more difficult to keep it breeding true with the orange eye.
So there's homozygous, I think, is where it will just produce one gene, and it's easier to get homozygous with a recessive gene. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is in genetics. Dr. Anthony's probably kicking himself like, you should know this, but that's the part of science class that I kind of fell asleep on.
Yeah, okay.
I'm telling you, if you told my science teachers from high school that I was like the leading genetics for freshwater shrimp in the United States, they'd be like, you've got the wrong Grant Eater somehow. Because I slept a lot in science class.
So the next question, what sort of ratio can we expect in offspring if starting with the highest quality and grades of some of the popular super expensive shrimp, such as boas, pythons, metallics, advanced nanasi, fancy tigers?
So the best way for me to put it is, all right, the fancy tigers, kind of remove those because those have been around long enough that they're easy enough to stabilize. You can easily get like a good 50% ratio out of those. But the boas, the pythons, the metallics, the purples, those, be happy if you get 10% of your offspring that show any type of good resemblance of the parents. Because like boas, they're just high-end galaxy pintos. So all the genes for all the dots and everything like that, the dots don't line up on top of each other and merge into that good boa pattern, like it needs to look like a boa constrictor style pattern on the face, 3 or 4 good splotches, And in order to get that, you're going to throw a lot of babies that are going to have 1 or 2 splotches that aren't considered boas to a lot of people, or just 1 half splotch or a bunch of dots or stuff like that. And those all have their own little individual names, like the snowflake and stuff like that, because they're trying to get money every little bit where they can. But opinion and preference is different from person to person too. So some people like the snowflake where it's a ton of dots, and then some people like the boas where all the dots are kind of blurred into one big one. But you're getting 90% of the offspring that aren't going to look anywhere near that. Same with the purples. There was one person that had a really solid line of purple shrimp going. Then he had to move off to college, so he sold off his stock. And I think he was getting like 50% purples or something like that. But he was charging $200 for like a pair and stuff like that. So, it's worth doing the work to get there. It's just not a lot of people are doing it. I don't think anybody has his line going. I threw his line in with, I only bought like 3 of him and his shrimp instead of buying like a whole colony. And I try to mix them in with my own personal Nanashi to try and make some purple Nanashis out of them. And I never got any purple offspring. So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So if red boas was my final end goal, to have a full tank of just red boas, would I be better off buying a colony of red boas or working up from like a snowflake and just kind of hoping for the best type of deal?
So personally, if you can afford it, just go for the boas, because you could be chasing a dream that you might get bored of before you even accomplish the dream. You know what I mean? There might be something that comes out that's going to be even prettier, and that's going to drop the price of boas from $100 per shrimp down to $50, $25 per shrimp. Or there's just some breeder who's going to get his hands on them and outbreed the crap out of them and drop the market price on them. Eventually, that's what happens to all shrimp. The Yellow King Kongs went from $10 shrimp down to $3. But like I mentioned, Yellow King Kongs are really easy to breed true. So the more offspring that are produced that look just like the parents, the cheaper the shrimp's going to be. That's why Neos are so cheap. That's why Taiwan bees are kind of cheap. But blue bolts, they still are the most expensive Taiwan bee, or the extremes, because like none of the offspring look like them. So that's why they've been able to hold their price over the years, where others like the Yellow King Kong have gone from $100 down to $3. The Taiwan bees have gone from like $25 down to like $10. It's a drop, but it's still they're more than a $3 shrimp today, because there's a little bit of work involved. Did I answer?
Okay. Yeah, you definitely answered it. Thanks.
Shelly looked like she was gonna say something and it totally threw me off.
Blame me.
Oh, I think we were talking about boas. So yeah, if you can buy it, but not everybody has $1,000 to go buy 10 red boas.
See, that sentence right there. That is all you needed.
I'm talking to Tim, okay? So, if you only have $500 to buy some Red Galaxy Pintos, you can make it work. All right, get back over here and read the chat questions. Hit me with the next one, Tim.
So, what type of ratio would I expect on getting like a good snowflake line? Like for offspring babies, are they pretty much going to be close to snowflake anyway, or are there going to be a lot of lower grade galaxies?
Snowflake is going to be real close to snowflake, but I think you meant boa. It would be like, if boa's 10% offspring, snowflake you're going to get like 20 to 30. It might be better than that. It might be worse. Again, that's going to depend on where you're going to get your snowflakes from. If you're pulling them out of a random seller or something like that, I wouldn't expect to get a lot of offspring snowflake. But if you're getting them from a good line, trying to think of somebody that's got really good snowflakes that are breeding them in the United States. Luis Clemente. You buy some of his, I think he's been breeding his for 2 or 3 years now. You might get a good 50% ratio of snowflakes off of his offspring, but that's probably a better question for him. And then when you're going around searching offspring or searching for these shrimp, ask the breeders, what's the percentage offspring you're getting? Can I see a colony picture? Maybe right now, while you're like thinking about buying them, ask the person for a picture. And then when you're ready to buy, ask for an updated picture. Are they doing the culling and stuff like that? How long is it taking the person to get that picture to you? If they're like, oh, let me work on it, let me get back to you, well, they might be going to the tank and prepping the tank for the photo or something like that. It's something to think about. But look for the babies. The babies are a great sign on what's happening in the tank if there's breeding and stuff like that. I always have to see babies in the tanks when I'm buying shrimp. That way I know they're homebred.
All right. And when I do get the red boas eventually, because I do plan to, how many different phenotypes and grades can I expect to come off from them in total? So, like, how many tanks should I plan to set up? That way I can fully separate each one and further selective breed just for what does pop out randomly.
All right, so let's start off with the worst one. You're going to get some random red steel offspring. These guys are like pointless. They're not going to really throw any good offspring. If you pick those together and put them off in their own tank, chances are like 90% of the time, they're just going to give you more red steel babies. So I would just move those and throw them into your CO2 cull tank and off with their heads type thing. Like, don't worry about them. With the rest of the shrimp, you're going to get some weird Tybees that aren't going to have any specific pinto pattern to them. They might just be solid color with a backline or something like that. Those, you can throw those into the cull tank as well. Then you're going to get regular red galaxies. You're going to get fish bones. You're going to get the snowflakes, and you could get possibly some boas or pythons. So you could keep four tanks for them, or you could keep like your snowflakes or boas together, and then all the rest in a different tank. It's really up to you, but I wouldn't use more than 4 tanks up for them unless I was trying to sell, and then I would keep 2 tanks of each one, so 8 tanks total.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the last question I've got written down here.
That's it?
That's it.
I knew it was going to be a little bit different. I was trying to get everything wrapped up in the first 30 minutes, and then we had all those the membership giveaway, and then the chats and other questions. So it took up a little bit more time than I thought I could ramble on for.
Oh, that's okay. A couple of my questions were halfway answered through the first half of the stream anyhow, so it already helped me before I even jumped up.
Shelby kept pulling them up, and I'm like, I know this is kind of going to answer Tim's question, so I kind of try to ask it that you could still ask a little something on top of it. It was a good stream, though.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of fun.
It's still going.
It was a good stream. From now on, it's all downhill.
Oh.
So 9 o'clock next Monday morning for the 500 subscriber giveaway. Super excited.
Sir.
Thank you guys so much for coming up, and thank you for sponsoring one of the prizes to be given away.
Yeah, no problem. It is early enough in the morning that you should get some hysterical sentences out of us. I won't know what's going on.
That's quite all right. So make sure you bring some coffee, and just a note for Grant, a little French vanilla ice cream is awesome in coffee.
The only way I drink coffee is if I go to Dunkin' Donuts and I get the cappuccino blast, where they literally just make a coffee into a milkshake. That's the only way I'll eat it. Drink it, eat it. Yeah, I have to eat it. But yeah, no, I don't. We don't usually do coffee. But this morning, Scotty was like, "Nah, Grant's favorite is ice cream," and I thought Scotty was asking me what's my favorite ice cream. I was half awake during a stream, so I'll try to wake up a little bit earlier in the next few days, so that way I'm primed and ready for Monday.
All right, sounds good.
All right, man. You have a good night. Thank you for coming up.
Yep, thanks. See you guys later.
See, all right, you got a lot of questions to catch up on.
I know. That's why I was like, all right, let's move on.
Victor said, if you got dots down the side with enough time and effort, could you possibly turn them into a solid horizontal lines of color down the length of the shrimp rather than the vertical wrapping around?
I think 100% that is doable. I think that's what they do with some of the stingrays and not koi. There's something else that they've done that with. I want to say for sure stingrays, but something else. But it would be doable with shrimp. It just might take some patience and many, many generations. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else was already trying to work on it.
Sibley says, if I have 2 lines of Taiwan bees, shadow pandas, and red lines, what is the line of tiger shrimp to potentially mix them with down the line, as well as breed those tigers themselves for profit?
All right. So you can't throw any tiger shrimp into those lines without tainting the line itself. And I'm not just talking about the Taiwan bees. I'm also talking about the tiger shrimp. So once you cross those 2 lines of shrimp, you can never, you can take the original shrimp out if you can remember exactly which ones they are and go with those. But the hybrids that you get off of the shrimp, no matter what kind of tiger shrimp I recommend, you're going to get nothing but mutts. So if you can keep them in separate tanks, breed them out by themselves, and then keep a tank to mix, you've got 2 different roads to go down. One is Caridina Maria. This is going to be your orange-eyed blue tigers, your red tigers, and super tigers. You can cross those with the Taiwan bees to potentially make your own German pintos, which will be the spothead pinto, belly, and zebra pintos. If you want to make the cool, new, fancy Galaxy pintos and boa pintos, you must use the Serrata tigers, which are Aurora blue, tangerine tiger, or you could also use the cheetahs that are the new Serrata shrimp that came out on the market a few years ago. However, with both of those crosses, you're looking at like 6 to 10 generations of hard work before you get anything that's like cool enough to sell. You could cross the orange-eyed blue tigers and try to make some orange-eyed shrimp, but again, it's much easier just to buy the already produced orange-eyed shrimp out there and just get those breeding rather than make your own cross.
All right. Katana. So could you describe the different grades of red fancy tigers? I found it difficult to find online a specific description of their different grades.
All right. So the way I like to break it down is high, medium, and low grade. I know the whole S's and everything like that. I think I have a whole live stream where I talk about grading on shrimp. If you want to jump to that, Crypt Keeper maybe might be able to throw that link in the chat for you. But the best way for me to break it down is the low grade is just going to be solid color. So head to toe, not a lot of pattern going on. You want some, you don't want them to look like crystal shrimp, but they can't have missing pigment to them. Medium grade, you're going to have nice stripes on the sides, not the best, not perfect or anything like that. Maybe some dots on the head, but not a lot of headgear. And then in order for them to be high grade, and then this would be the SS plus and stuff like that, it really gets confusing the amount of S's you can add and the pluses and stuff like that. So I just stick high, medium, and low. But high grade, you're going to have the headgear, many dots on the head.
Headgear to people that don't know what headgear
Many
is.
dots on the head. I was getting to that. You can even have the little man on the head.
Dancing man.
Yeah, I know.
It's
It's copyrighted. I don't know if we're allowed to even
head.
say that, Shelby.
Yeah, you
So-
just can't refer to it, but there is.
Yeah, there was
Like a
another
person.
little phrase. I'm trying to think. Somebody else described it as something totally different. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, there's little tribal guys that are on top of the head, different smiley face patterns and stuff like that you can get. But some good headgear and making them look like they have a helmet on of some type that's different than the rest of the body is going to help them be high grade. Dots on the head is like the number one thing. And then you can have different colors to like the black and white. It can be black and blue. The red, you kind of just have the red and white, but the red, you can have ruby, you could have the dragon's blood coloration. It's all going to be preference. So that's why I like to stick to the high, medium, and low. And then you've got your red and black.
So
And black and blue.
also when selective breeding, would you introduce shrimp from a different breeder into your colony, or would you just use shrimp from your own colony?
So like I was talking with Crypt Keeper, if I was trying to develop like my own line of pure red line and crystal shrimp, that's why we bought from 7 different breeders, took the best of the best and threw them in. For the most part, I don't like adding new blood. I would prefer buying from one person, breeding those out, and then buying from another, breeding those out. And then if I was getting something out of one colony that I wasn't getting out of the other and I wanted to add to it, then I would cross. But for the most part, another breeder isn't going to have something in their genetics that another breeder has. So I would just buy the best of the best from one person and then work on those. And, you know, if you weren't happy and somebody came out with something new, then maybe add those in. But I would just buy exactly what line I wanted and work on that.
Henry asked, why aren't any Neos bred to have stripes? The wild types I've seen seem to have a little striping to start with.
I think it's because the wild type striping and stuff like that, they're so dominant that anytime you try to breed it or go down that road, you end up with wild type Neocaridinas. You kind of have the Rillies, you have the racing stripe and stuff like that. But for the most part, those are the only ones that are stable. I have a couple of like random red Rillies that are, instead of the head and tail being the coloration, there's like a couple of bars involved. But with red Rillies in general, there's a ton of culls involved. And when you work with more like minute little tiny patterns within that mutation, you're going to have even more and more culls. So the amount of work for what's possibly going to be a maximum of a $10 shrimp, like the whole orange-eyed scene of the Neocaridina, those aren't even in rotation or big because the whole doubt about them, and they were trying to charge $200 a shrimp. The market for a Neocaridina shrimp, like the top price you're ever going to get is $10. So the amount of work you have to put in for something like that, for it to be a $10 shrimp, it's just not worth it for a lot of people. Still doing it, trying. It's just a lot of hard work.
Moonja said, what's your opinion on ocean blues and how were they made?
All right, so it's not an opinion. I got some facts for you. So we crossed Taiwan bees with tangerine tigers, and 8 to 10 generations later, we had a really nice line of crazy blue, which is just another name for a certain phenotype of blue steels. A blue steel is just a hybridized blue bowl. And out of the crazy blues, I'll just get some quote unquote ocean blues. They're, you know, really deep dark blue, kind of like your name is lit up on the comment here. And then the rest of the shrimp will be like a really navy dark blue or a light white or something like that. But they're just an off phenotype from the blue steels or blue crazy blues. And I don't even think that it would be that hard to selective breed them. Shelby has been asking me to do it for years, but the problem is we don't get that many. We're not a breeding for quantity facility. We breed for quality. So out of the 3 tanks of blue crazy blues that we breed, we get a few that pop up here and there, but never enough to start their own tank. But I think we have enough now that I could probably start our own tank with it now.
Is it possible to make a red, white, and blue tricolor shrimp?
Yeah. So we have Shelby shrimp, which are red and white and already have a little tiny bit of blue pigment to them, the red galaxies. So anybody out there, we've got a sale going on. Buy 10, get 3 free TGOE. Get free shipping on $100 or more. And she's got her Galaxy Pintos listed on the website. you could breed them out and possibly get your own red, white, and blue shrimp out of those as well. The genes are there. They're nothing special. And actually, the tank that she's allowing me to catch the shrimp out of, the adults are the ones that have the little blue coloring and coming in on that back line on the top of the shrimp. So it's very neat. There have been pictures of other people with it.
So coming out of that tank, though.
Oh, I can't take any more out of that tank?
This top tank,
no. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
After the sale, you come to me
Unless
the next
you
2
want
days,
red-
I'll get them out of that tank
Unless
still.
you want red
next 2
steels.
days.
Red steels, I got plenty of them for
I told you, send them to the butcher. Those aren't worth nothing. We don't
They're
even sell them
beautiful.
on the website.
I
That's just
love
because we
red
haven't
steels.
taken pictures and I forget
They're so
about them.
beautiful.
She likes them. I think they look amazing for aquascapes and stuff like that. They're good risk. They're not risk.
You're just
They're not
you
risky,
like the
so it's
flashy
like-
stuff. Some people like the wood colors, but
They're the infiltrate. Send them in early. Test the tank. Tank's good.
Stop. Okay.
Pull them out. Send them home.
Ryan said, "Have you ever started a neo tank with all wilds to breed out for something new?"
I have not. I have some wild Keatigan Neocaridina. Now these are actual wild caught neos from the wild and not like crossbred between two different kinds of neo shrimp. I have wanted to start off like a line of cherries or something off of them, but like that's just for fun. I don't think anything new is going to come out of them. I think it'd be a lot easier to select and breed out of the lines that are already out there.
Aaron said, "Why are eggs different colors? Black, yellow, white."
All right, so with certain types of shrimp, you can have certain phenotypes that come out. So like the best reference is going to be the Tang Tai. The Tang Tai shrimp will have Taiwan beet genes as well as tangerine tiger and other phenotypes involved. And the eggs will actually show the color of the shrimp when it's going to be hatched. So you could have blue eggs, you could have red eggs, you could have white eggs and yellow eggs, all in the same color shrimp. The yellow eggs are probably going to look more like yellow King Kongs. The white eggs could be a mix of different kind of Tybees to yellow King Kongs to anything that's going to be kind of transparent. The blue eggs are almost always going to be black Taiwan bees. I have had a few crystal ghost bees with the light blue eggs, but I'm talking like a deeper, darker blue is almost always going to be a Taiwan bee or Tai bee if it's a hybrid, of course. But they're going to have that double pigment coloration to them. And then a red, of course, will look like a red colored shrimp. So with Tybees, Tai bees, Tang Tai, Michelins, and crossbreeding, just within different kinds of shrimp, you can get different color eggs.
Eric Rain said, "Do you
Oh,
guys?"
wait. And those eggs can hatch at different rates. So crystal shrimp hatch a little bit quicker than Taiwan bees. So that's why if you have like a shrimp with blue and brown eggs, all the brown eggs can be gone and she'll still be carrying around those blue eggs for another couple of days while those take a little bit more time to hatch. So back to you, Shelby.
Eric Rain said, "Do you guys sell rare shrimp that are not listed on your website? If so, how does someone get a list of what is available?"
So the rare shrimp are unlocked on our website with a special cheat code. Not cheap at all. No, it's just if you have something on your wish list, chances are if it's rare, it doesn't make the website. So stuff like our pure red lines and royal blue tigers, Shelby's Galaxy pintos before they hit the market, my backline shrimps. There's several shrimp that before they even become available on the website, I will let go in small numbers, but I don't post something available on the website unless we have like 50 or more shrimp to sell, because say something happens to an order and I have to reship or something like that, I don't want any unhappy customers. So until we can sell more than 50, they don't make it to the website. So if there's something on your wish list and you want to buy them, email us and I can give you an ETA or, hey, yeah, we actually do have 15 of the red tiger shrimp available on the website with the blue body, a normal eye if you want them, $10 a piece, something like that.
Fish and Wall. What age or size are males capable of breeding?
I've had males at 1 month old at 1 centimeter able to tag shrimp. So average is about 2 months, 2 centimeters, but it is doable way earlier than females. So
Sorry, I love the tag. Tag, you're it. Your responsibility now. Sorry. J Dubs Aquatic said recently got 5 male, 5 female black snowflake galaxy fish bones. Should I let them breed a few times before trying to selective breed, or just select best male to put with my 5 females? My first Caridina.
all right, so take out your worst
First
three.
Caridina, you started with snowflake galaxy fish bones.
Don't criticize him. Get out of here.
You
I
got a lot
like
of
this.
courage.
This guy's
I
he's
would
got
kill
it.
him. I would just be so nervous.
Get the negativity out of there. This man, he's been watching the channel. He's watched everything you need to know about Caridina through the TGOE method. He's on it. All right. So take out your worst 3 males. Keep your stud and his best buddy. He's got to have a friend that he can brag about tagging the females to, or else he just dies. All right. If he's just getting all of it all to himself and he can't brag about it and boast to the beta male of the colony, he's just gonna die. It happens every time. I don't know why, but you just keep a stud and a semi-average, good-looking friend, then he's still gonna get all the tail, and you're gonna have some really nice babies. Get rid of those other 3 duds. Keep them in a jar or something if you have to, as backups in case the other 2 get too crazy with their partying or something. But it shouldn't be an issue.
I love those shrimp though. That is a great starter shrimp.
If
I could have just started with those, that'd be great.
we had a friend that started with fancy tigers. Did great. Had absolutely 0 issues. Made all of his money back. Was selling me back shrimp. And then his mom decided to go to Disney World and bug bomb the house. Everything was fine. They covered the tank. Everything was good. They didn't think anything would happen. He came home. There was 2 dead shrimp in the tank. And he took the net, which was not covered up, which was being doused by the bug bomb, into the tank. And then immediately all the tanks started freaking out like they were electrocuted. And this was pre-Aquachar days, so I didn't know what to do to help the poor kid. He did 90% water change, still lost the entire stock, but was doing everything perfect until his mom bug bombed the house. So stay away from bug bombs. Get rid of the mom. You'll be fine.
Life in Liquid. Do you do anything to promote biofilm?
So what we do to promote biofilm is let the tank run for a good 30 days. And then after that, I don't really worry about the biofilm at all. The longer you run the lights, hold on, I lied. So we set up our tanks so that way they have the most surface area possible. The more surface area that you have, the more biofilm. So this is great with moss, little added wood to the tank. Stay away from the cholla. That's a mom bomb waiting to happen. But get some spider wood, some apani, some Malaysian driftwood. That will hold on, last you many, many years without having any issues. And that's all going to grow surface area. All going to grow biofilm on all that added surface area. I'm sorry, you can't grow surface area unless you grow plants. Then you're going to grow it out the wazoo, trim it up, but it's still going to have. I'm just reading Dr. Anthony giveaway.
Yeah.
Did we say something? Did I say something?
Yeah, it was about Crypt Keepers giveaway.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Also,
you can add Bacter AE, but it is one of those products that can do a lot more damage than good. It absorbs a lot of oxygen, but we just feed our shrimp and do our water changes, and that's all we do after we set up the tank for 30 days.
I was going to say, don't forget, sometimes you can't see a biofilm and it's still there. So It's just something that just every little thing you add, like any plants or wood, it's there. You might not be able to see it. Sometimes you can see it in mass produced, like some of the trees and wood that you put in the tank get that like 2-inch thick of biofilm. That stuff is gross looking.
Don't quote me, but I believe if you have an open source of water with light for over an hour, there's biofilm already growing there, whether you like it or not. So
Passing one said, to me, the plain cherries look better than the fires. Still haven't decided what to order from y'all. I love the fire reds if you like a solid, but if you like the kind of broken up patterns, I guess the regular red cherries would look good.
if you want a cheap wannabe red tiger, red cherries are great.
Right?
I originally, when I first got into shrimp keeping, I thought you made red tigers by making ugly red cherries. I just thought that's how they did it. And then they were just upcharging them on price. And I was like, well, I mean, that's one way to make some money.
Brandon asks, what's the difference between a python and a boa?
All right. So I wanted to be a smart aleck on that really bad. But it's all due to pattern. So a boa is going to have slightly, big pattern splotches to it. A python is just going to have bigger, thicker splotches of pattern on it. I don't know where it goes from a boa to a python. I haven't seen any python pictures. I've seen pythons that look just like boas. So I haven't talked to Skyfish or one of those Asian breeders to figure that one out yet. Python's relatively new to the market, and I haven't seen them really over here in the U.S. So hopefully I'll find that out in June and be able to give you a better answer. But it's just all about size of the dots, honestly.
Matt asked us to start all over because he's late.
Well, lucky for you, there's a 2-time watch speed, and you can catch up.
Brennan said, I'm seeing a lot of gray in the beard, man. What's going on with you? Stressing? Laugh out. Just kidding. It's the lighting for sure. It doesn't look that bad.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of gray in my hair, though.
Yeah.
I'm going full cycle. I was born with blonde, and then all my hair turned red, and then it went brown, and then black, and now it's going gray. And then hopefully, in a couple of years, I'll just be full white. I'll just be a white wizard.
Crip, I'm just letting you know that Grant never takes his hat off. He even sleeps with it. I literally said that the other day when we were with his mom, came to visit, and she was like, take the hat off. I was like, no, he goes to bed with that. That thing don't come off. And she just looked at me, and it was like a pause of silence. She was questioning whether her son was that weird or not. And I'm like, that was a joke. Okay, Passing Wind said, I don't see any sale on the website. So we don't post the sale on the website. That's just because truth to be told, I'm lazy and I don't want to forget to take it down. So we'll always post it on our Facebook or the Garden of Eater Facebook. And currently our sale is buy 10, get 3 free. And so any order that goes, you just automatically get that. It won't add it to the cart or anything. We just automatically ship it to you.
We'll see the order of 10 shrimp on the cup, and then we catch an extra 3 plus a little extra 1 for DOA on top of that as well. So
yep, and it's 10 of one type of shrimp.
Yeah.
Some people don't realize
I
that.
will honor if you buy 5 shrimp, you'll get 1 extra plus the extra for DOA, but you're not getting the 1.5 shrimp. I'm not cutting them off. Sorry.
Nate the Shrimp Nut said, I think they would look great in my tank, Shelby. The red steels.
And
they are awesome just by themselves, not with my pinto line.
I think there are some shrimp, though, that are still on sale from the holiday sales.
Yes, yeah. So Grant does post some of them on sale during, that's when we drop our price. But the big sale is the buy 10, get 3 free. So you could really potentially have a lot of savings if you take some of the shrimp that we have on sale on our website and buy 10 of them, you get those 3 for free. So you're getting really good pricing on a lot of shrimp.
And then if you have a membership sticker with a membership code, you can get an extra 10% off that as well. So there's deals all around.
We might actually almost be caught up. Hold on. Sibley said, Shelby and Grant, choose. If you were each limited to a 1 10-gallon tank, what line of tigers would you choose? Oh my God.
Raccoons.
No.
Why do you change so
one
much?
type? Just
one type. How do you go from, my favorite shrimp are raccoons to Nope, not gonna have those.
But what, just one type? That is so hard to choose. I'm the one who wants an entire rack full of tigers, so like it is really hard for me to choose exactly just one line.
It's easy for me.
Then say your choice.
No, what is it, Shelby? I want to know. Do you know me, or are you gonna let me
raccoons,
down?
But for you,
Yeah.
do I know you? No.
What line of shrimp have I won more awards with than
Black tiger, orange eye.
I gotta keep those. I mean,
I don't consider those tigers for some reason. Like if I
'Cause they don't
can't
have the
see
stripes,
their
but-
stripes, I don't consider them tigers anymore.
I could get you some ugly ones that have a little stripage to them, but
Yeah,
you know,
see?
those aren't the ones that are bringing home the awards.
Oh man, I am hoping to compete in my first shrimp contest ever. Every year that Grant got to enter, I didn't have my own shrimp that were of size or quality. I had some that were size but not quality, and then now I had size or opposite. You know,
She's got both.
now I got quite a bit to choose from, so I'm like super excited. And
There's still
I
time
can't
to
wait.
crash your tanks, though.
That's not fair.
Payback for the prawns.
No.
Revenge.
You're yelling way too
Vengeance.
loud.
She
Oh,
killed my
man.
prawns back in 2013.
Yeah, still holding it. So Carbon says, what is wrong with having Cholla wood?
Cholla wood is really bad because it will break down faster than any other kind of wood that I've ever had, except for grape wood. Grape wood should be like used for reptiles, not your tanks.
Yeah.
But the Cholla wood itself might not be bad for a year, might not be bad for 2 years. Eventually, though, that thing is going to disintegrate from the inside out. No, I'm shaking the table. You let me do it.
Stop. You're making the mic go off. though.
All right. Oh, okay. I guess I'll stop.
You're getting too much.
But eventually, it's going to start breaking down from the inside out, and you're going to have an issue with mulm in your tank one way or another. And with shrimp tanks, you really shouldn't be vacuuming up anything on the substrate. You're going to suck up babies, or you're going to mess with a little bit of substrate here and there, and you're going to cause a little bit of bacterial infection. I'm sorry, I had to take a water.
Yeah, it's the soft wood. There's a couple different other types of wood that are the same way. Over time, all wood starts to break down, but that one just breaks down faster, so it's not fun. All right. Scott asked, do you ever have difficulty getting a shrimp culture started and can't figure out why this one works so well, but that one didn't?
I mean, yeah, we've never really had any good luck with the blue bee Caridina. I've had them surviving in the tank now for over a year, just never any breeding. I could mess with the total dissolved solids and drop it and maybe get some luck, but the method we have in the house with 150 total dissolved solids throughout the board, everything gets the exact same amount of water. It allows me to have the ability and time to do all the maintenance that is needed. If I'm mixing 110 for this tank and lower for this one and that one and that one and so on and so on, it's just going to take up way more time and effort than I have available to do everything here. So, yeah, certain shrimp for sure have taken us some extra time. The calcios, we got those going last year. That's one of the shrimp that we've got reds breeding in 3 or 4 different tanks. Not ready to start selling reds. We can start letting go some blues. In the blues, we've got some blacks. I even have some reds pop up. I'm not sure if those ones are scorpions or not, but we'll find out. And another one is the super crystals. Our super crystal blacks took off last year. Those are available. I actually have a female in the tank of super crystal reds that I thought were all male. She's buried up, so there's another chance for me to get 29 more males and 1 female. Looking forward to that.
And to add on to that as well is source of shrimp can also cause a big issue on this. So if you have imported shrimp, a lot of times they are just too stressed out and they will not breed for you. So that sometimes you could buy imported shrimp from one person and homebred shrimp from another one, and they're the same lines, both blue, Blue Dreams say that, and one's imports and one's not, the ones not imported could be breeding a lot faster, and you think you're doing something wrong, which it could just be the quality of the shrimp. Just, even people that do home breed can have bad quality shrimp as well, so it can happen.
And I really don't think that it's so much to do with like the breeders, the sellers, and the wholesalers. I think the stress of shipping and going through like the X-rays machines and stuff like that. I know there's bugs out of Chile for our reptiles that they hit the larva, and all they do is put them through an X-ray machine, and it causes them not to be able to breed. So just that alone could be causing the shrimp to have reproduction effects and stuff like that. So best to do homebred, as minimum shipping as possible.
Hey, Ruben with Shrimp Pimpin' says, how can I get my shrimp to grow larger? I want to increase the size of my shrimp. They don't grow very large.
So I think the number one thing for this is going to be size of the tank. 10-gallon tank is as minimum as I go if I'm trying to get size for the shrimp. All right, my emeralds are in a little 7.5-gallon tank, and they never seem to get to that full 1-inch size. They're always around 3/4 of an inch, hanging on there, buried up all the time and stuff like that, but never really get to that full size. I think a 10-gallon tank is a minimum requirement if you're looking to get large size with numbers. Then I really think that the first 2 months of the shrimp's life really depends on how quickly you can get those shrimp to grow. If your shrimp spent a lot of time in shipping during those 2 months, yeah, it's going to survive shipping a lot more, but I think it drastically reduces the amount of speed that it grows up. If you can get a healthy shrimp to be born and then get it to molt and grow as fast as possible with a good diet, good rotation of water changes and stuff like that from the very beginning, those first 2 months, a lot of times you can get shrimp up to 2-3 centimeters by the time they're 3 months old. And proper diet and stuff like that. Clean water is going to be important in a nice sized tank. Also, low population. If you've got 1,000 shrimp in that 20, 30, 40-gallon tank, the shrimp aren't going to grow nearly as fast as if there's only 20, 50 shrimp in that tank. So a lot of things to think about. And then a good rotation of food, making sure they have all of the readable, that's not even a word, all of the different types of minerals and vitamins and stuff like that. So a nice variety is going to help you get that.
I can't even think of the word you're trying to say. Readable. Readable's a word.
Readable, but not the word I was trying to go. I don't think readable
Big
is a
Shrimp
word.
and said,
Readable's a word.
No, readable, like readily available. Maybe that's what we're like.
That's not what I was trying to say.
Readable.
I'll make up words when I want. That's how
if that's how a word it should be. Readily available is readable now. Big Sherman said, what's the hottest, newest, most why did you do this to me? Expensive is shrimp right now. Most desired.
So I think that the orange-eyed purple metallics that are like solid purple, I'm not talking like, oh, it kind of looks like a rusty color to it or something like that. I think there's only a very, very few breeders that have those. I don't know how expensive they are, if they're more money than the pythons or anything like that. I know the pythons are up there on the list. So it'd be between those two shrimp for sure.
WB said, I got a few orange, blue really Neos in my Skittles tank. Could I toss them in with my orange to make a colony and start culling the straight orange down the road? Mess up my line intentional.
All right. So I would keep them in your Skittles tank. Keep your orange solid, because if you throw your blue Rillies in with the orange, I bet you're going to end up with wilds. I would keep the orange true if you can. There's not a big market for orange shrimp, so maybe just throw the orange in with the Skittles and throw the blue Rillies and selective breed for those. But I believe crossing the two, you're going to get wilds. It's going to be a wasted effort.
Mikey's Fish Tanks, welcome, said, Grant, after almost 8 months, the fish rooms going back together.
Oh, nice to hear that, man. I know it's been a big effort for you having to move everything around, but it'd be cool to come back and check everything out. Also, dude, you're more than welcome to come by here. You never even asked.
I don't know what
Anytime.
this one is about. Size of the teeth. Don't know. Sibley said, Shelby and Grant, I have a 10-gallon tank. I want to set up and add some shrimp from TGOE between something like a cheetah, raccoon, stardust, tangerine, etc. What is the one you would each recommend? Is this, I believe this is the starter setup. So obviously setup.
All right. You go first.
Tangerines are always going to be the easiest of all of them because they can go in like tap water. They're going to breed slower in the tap water than they would in softer water, but much easier to take care of and more rewarding. But I also think that raccoons are pretty hardy in this way. So they would be my second choice to that hardiness and being able to reproduce and breed as fast. So exciting to me.
So my answer is, if you're worried, get tangerine tigers. But if you're not worried, and you shouldn't be, if you've watched all of our videos, you're good. All right, you're in good hands. Pick your favorite one, because cheetahs, raccoons, stardust, and tangerine tigers are the 4 of the hardiest shrimp that we have. You could pick all of them, throw them all in a tank together. The cheetahs and the tangerine tigers are going to crossbreed, but the stardust and the raccoons, they shouldn't really do anything. There's a possibility they might.
If they do, that'd be awesome. Send them back.
And you'd be like one of the first in the world to have that occurrence happen. So it's just one of those things where I would pick my favorite coloration and pattern and run with it, because those are all very hardy shrimp. And as long as you're not throwing poison into the tank, you should be doing good.
Passing Wind, our website, TGOEshrimp.com. Losing hearing.
That's the best way to order, because if you order and you put something in through PayPal, I might not remember to tell Shelby between the time I see her and the time I see her. So
yeah, if you ever remember or order shrimp from Grant, just shoot me a message. Be like, don't forget these, because I only go through the website, and then he's supposed to remind me or send me a screenshot. So
it happens, but sometimes it doesn't.
Dr. Anthony, of course size matters. Don't listen to her if she's ever told you that. Welcome in, Dee Dee. Thanks for joining us.
Bigger the shrimp, you're going to get more points in just about any competition.
I'm so excited. Oh, you guys should enter too.
They can't, because he's judging.
Oh, nice. Okay, so mine are the red pintos. Hopefully no one else enters and I'm the only.
They're not allowed to say that.
Just kidding.
I mean, they're going to know.
He knows,
you don't
right?
have any
There's
other shrimp.
It's an international shrimp contest. There's going to be more than one red pinto. It's a joke. That would be hilarious if I was the only one. They would have to disqualify me. Like, I know who these are. She came over and told me disqualified.
I mean, in the contest that I judged, I could pretty much tell who all the shrimps were.
Give me my pin back. Big Shrimp has said, what can you guys tell me about zebra babalatis?
Babulties.
That's
you are butchering everything. You're the one that should have all of this down.
No.
All right. So we have a very, very small colony of them going. I've heard they like Neocaridina parameters. I've heard they like Caridina parameters. We've tried them in both. The only ones I've been able to get them to live in is the Caridina parameters, but I do have somebody that I talked to last year. I do have a tank that I am holding open for them to give them another go. But they are one of the more hard shrimp to breed. They're not going to be easy. I don't know anybody that has a good Babulti colony that's been going for many, many years. I try to buy more from the person that I got ours from, and they already got rid of their colony. So,
Lady R said, would it be fair to say that Cholla, I don't care.
You gotta get this.
Should only be used with shrimp. I am so afraid to put it in a tank with fish for the very reason Dee Dee mentioned, which is the beta fish got stuck in it. I just wouldn't use it at all. There's so many better options to choose that is still around the same price. Yeah, you could put a Nubis in it, but like I can shove like one piece of Dragonstone can replace that and put all Anubis in that. So is there a reason you would want to stay with it? Otherwise, then like there's just no reason for it. I mean, I've never really had problems in my fish tanks, honestly, but I never put a beta fish in Cholla wood or koi or whatever.
Roger's got some attitude tonight.
Yeah, he has been.
I fed him
but
twice
thinking.
today, but
Yeah.
we haven't fed him bloodworms in a while. I think they're angry. We gotta
I
get him
don't-
some bloodworms.
It seems like so those two. I've been watching them all night. So those two have been pairing up. That one and that one have been pairing up, and then Mr. Lonely up in this corner is not having a good day. And then we also have too many male neons. The males are fighting too, so
That's fine.
it's been crazy. All right. Grant's right, Dr. A. It happened to me. 3 tanks was devastating. Oh, that's sad.
I don't know what I was right about,
I don't know.
but it sounds
But you're
right.
right. Scott says, my blue dreams are just surviving, no breeding in months. And then I saw, but males were swimming like crazy yesterday. So going to look for berries and isolate here and hang on breeder.
So real quick, there is the whole winter lull myth or legend or whatever you want to call it. If you increase the amount of water changes you do during the winter, increase the amount of food you're feeding, you can trick them into breeding and get them going. Most people should have 0 issues unless the temperature at your house is like down in the 60s.
Big Shrimp had said, how hard are zebra
We already did this.
to keep, though?
I covered it.
Okay. Just making sure I wasn't listening to you.
I'm used to it.
I have to read.
Uh-huh. We only do the live stream 2 hours a week, Shelby. What's your excuses for the other?
How long does it take for a female to release her eggs? About 30 days.
It's going to be faster if you keep it warmer water. It could be up to like 45 days if you keep it cool in like the 60s.
So,
Like outside, our shrimp are definitely 45 days.
Dr. Anthony says size is not a factor, that it's an old wives' tale.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I would say it's always better to have a bigger tank because of the fluctuations, and obviously you did put that there, but the fluctuations in any
Them turtles outside, they're massive for a year old, and it's just because I'm the only one keeping them turtles in a 500-gallon tank. Everybody else that I know keeps them in them little baby turtle tubs.
Yeah.
I think size matters, and I think the proof is in the turtles.
If it is to turtles, 100%, you can stunt the growth of turtles in a smaller tank. So, in retrospect, you would think that would carry over to shrimp or to fish as well.
But maybe I could have done it in like a little, cricket keeper and just constantly change the water. I don't know. It's just easier to do it in a larger tank, so it helps.
Yeah, usually it is. I think the turtles do get stunt growth because they are in dirty water.
He's a doctor, though. I wouldn't be arguing with him.
You started it.
No.
We had to think that one through.
I don't know. It's just easier to do in a larger tank, so let's stick with that.
So Dee Dee's got several tanks with groups: Blue Diamonds, Aurora Blue, Stardust, and Raccoons. Tangerine Tiger, Stardust, Raccoons, Blue Diamonds. Nice. Rob said, Grant, just let the cat out of the bag. I'm honored to be judging panel with Nico Carbon, Eric Lucas, and
Benite,
Who's that?
an Asian guy.
Oh, that's cool. It's probably not pronounced that way then. For the Summer's International Shrimp Competition. Gotta be fun.
I didn't know it was a secret. My bad, man. I'm sorry. I kind of been out of the loop, and you shared me, and I've got a big mouth. So.
Oh, you just let the cat out.
I didn't know. I thought it was already announced.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
He probably said to keep this a secret.
No, I don't.
Oh man.
We've had a lot going on.
Only 74 people know.
Sorry.
It's okay. Shrimp Pimpa says, can you ship your shrimp to the international competition? And Rob answered yes. So it's got to be the same exact way, which it was the same with the international shrimp contest.
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna get
experience.
I don't know how you're gonna get your shrimp back though, because Therese did not do that for the international shows. You had to pick them up or arrange for somebody to pick up your shrimp, and that's why we flew to all of the.
I mean, Ruben just entered them. I'll take them all. You know.
But that's why we drove to all of the past international contests, is because I was bringing $4,000 to $5,000 worth of shrimp, and if I wasn't there to pick them up, I had to have somebody else do it, and I didn't trust anybody else to, handle them and send them back to me. So,
WB said, I've never brought anything to the club for the auction. Any quick tips so I don't get clowned on? So 100% make sure that you have good bags that are not leaking. You will absolutely get reamed if your bag is leaking.
There's a $1 rebag fee if you have a leaky bag. I don't think a lot of people know that. I don't know if it's enforced that much, but it should be.
And, don't do 75% water, 25% air. That's you only need 25% water. 75%
one third water, 2/3 air is going to be the optimal. Oh my God, ratio.
Yeah. Make sure you rubber band it real good so it's good. You got to put your seller number and then bag number on it, and you're only allowed 40 bags and no 3 of anything, or 3 of anything, no more than 3.
And then if you want a minimum, write the minimum. It is always best, though, to write the name of whatever you're selling and then how many is in the bag as well. But what I would do is seller number, bag number, what you're selling, times how many you're selling. And that would be the perfect way to do it. Unless you had a labeler with a little photo, of course, it can always get better.
It's too much work. Dr. Anthony says your PayPal button is not working. That is strange because someone just used PayPal a minute ago. So sometimes it could be if you're on your phone or on your desktop, some might stop it. So
hey, Dr. Anthony, your PayPal button isn't working. You ever think of that?
Passing one said tomorrow is 29 years. I'm not asking my wife if size matters at this point. Oh, that would be funny if someone's been together for like 30 years and just bent hers to her and asked her. And she'd be like, why'd you ask now? Now that you mentioned it. Rob said it's public. Grant, no worries. Have a good night, Frank. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Never mind on the PayPal. It was literally like a minute later. I should have just kept reading.
You made me be a jerk for nothing, Shelby.
No. You choose to be a jerk. Is the shrimp competition website? It's on the shrimp competition website already. Simply says, thank Grant and Shelby. Can't wait to put an order into TGOE. Definitely getting a hat as well. Grant, make sure to rewatch Volk versus Zombie. He said, how does he know about that? Did you say something during the stream?
Listen, everybody knows about Volk versus Islam, okay? Everybody.
Wrong one. Hey, he said we could keep them nice. He's going to send the worst ones. Oh, man. Have a good night, Malcolm Reynolds.
Was there a sad face on that?
No, winky face. He means for a good price. Be the price of the plane ticket.
No, I think he
Dr. Anthony says any orange angels showing up at the auction lost the card of the guy who was breeding the angels.
Let me figure that one out
Dr.
for you.
Anthony.
Because somebody showed me some really beautiful orange angels.
They can't be too beautiful because then I'll want to keep them.
Maybe it was at Imperial Tropics.
Yeah, that was.
I'll ask Mike.
Hello, Luke. Welcome in. Shelby can't make Grant be a jerk. She can monetize it. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, Dr. Anthony forgot to buy a hat.
I
Oh,
can
look
send
at
you a
that.
hat
We caught up.
when I
We
send
caught
you the
up.
rubber bands, because I forgot to send you rubber bands.
Rubber bands? You were supposed to spend.
Yeah, I was supposed to
You're
buy
terrible.
rubber bands and send them to him, but I do need to make an order for Prime and more bags, so I will get you some rubber bands here, Dr. Anthony. Give me like a week.
Dee Dee says, if you're going to be selling stuff at a show, etc., fishfam.link has those cool table channel signs with the scanning codes would be nice to have. Yeah. See, we got our little badges and everything, so it's cool. Rob says he needs one of those hats, too.
Also, if
We'll
we're
have
talking
some
about
during the
shows and we're
North
talking
Carolina.
about hats and maybe even T-shirts,
Oh,
if you wear
the
one of
elbow.
our pieces of merch to the shows, we give you 10% off at the table. So just a little tip. I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. Again, sale on the website, buy 10, get 3 free. We're running our usual free shipping on orders over $100. And everyone have a happy Valentine's Day. Until next week.
We got to make a video at the end to wrap it up. It's just us wrapping up our shrimp like 20 times.
Oh, there
Oh,
are some unboxing videos where people don't realize how much we wrap.
If you ever plan on doing an unboxing video from us, just remember it's gonna take a little bit to unwrap it. Thank you guys, everyone, and thank you, Jeff, for the gifted memberships
Jeff,
and
you're the man.
vibes, and Dr.
Vibes.
Anthony. Thank you, everyone that donated tonight.
You guys rock.
Thank you for joining us. Enjoyed the night.
Have a good night, guys.